Previously on Oops All Bards. Belle Cernamiel, heiress to the storied Cernamiel family of Jubilantia, uses her family connections to learn more about the events at commencement from the Sovereign House staffers who were not at the graduation ceremonies. Most notably, Belle discovers that most of the Sovereign House security team was dispatched to Memorial Stadium, leaving the country's legislative center largely unprotected. Meanwhile, Magen Marshal President Philomena Blunderstool, Triarch Thistleodora, Acting Secretary of War Gideon Stormcaller, and a handful of other members of the Magen Marshal faculty have decided that while they work on freeing the hostages in the stadium, not to mention a response to Malveaux's seeming reappearance, the 5 newly minted bards should be dispatched to the Alcazar, Malveaux's former summer home and the apparent headquarters of his attempt to reclaim power. There to meet with Lucinda O'Cour, Malveaux's former Minister of Propaganda, and negotiate for an extended deadline to address his demands. After protracted talks, the bards learn that O'Cour requires a hostage, specifically Triarch Odora. Led by Clarice Sauercloud, the daughter of 2 of Udvada's most notable political strategists, the bards agree to take O'Cour's demands back to Sovereign House. However, before they even make it off the grounds of the Alcazar, Absolonova, the famed best bow of Puchton, appears from the shadows. It is through Absolonova that the bards learn Malveaux's forces are also assembling in the north, and have begun conscripting the dogfolk there, including the family of Puchton Ruckus, into their effort. Deciding he must come to the aid of his family, Ruckus leaves with Absolonova to join the resistance in the north, as the bards bid him a fond farewell.
You wanted monsters all slain by their betters, but you ain't seen nothing like arts and letters. Look who has answered the cry of distress. Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess. You think we're a joke, but in truth we're all id. We fight like we learned it in books, 'cause we did. We all survived college with charisma impressive. Oops, it's all bards, and yes, it's excessive. If you're still confused, we'll explain to you thus. There's nobody left, so that's why they called us. We'll fight or we'll otherwise roll for successes. Oops, it's all bards. We hope that addresses all that you have to know to enjoy listening to our all-bard party sent off on a mission. How'll it go?
Well, we're sure you can guess.
Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess.
Endra Carolhold, Urade Hall.
Belle Cernamiel, Flatley Hall.
Colonian Stumps, Saluver College.
Clarice Sauercloud, Talmadge Hall.
Welcome back to Oops All Bards, the actual play D&D podcast that does what it says on the box. I'm your host and game master, Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy, but if you see me on the street and call me anything other than Jill, I'm almost certainly going to assume I'm in trouble for missing curfew again. With me are our bards. Bards, please introduce yourselves.
All right, hello. It is Anne Coleman, coming in as your girl, Clarice Sauercloud.
Hi, my name is Ashley Banks, and I'm playing Belle Cernamiel.
Hi, I'm Ross Curry. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Andra Carolhold, also he, him.
Hello, I'm Bob Killian. I will be playing as Colonian Stumps. Very excited.
And we are also joined by our producer, Nate Runkle, the loudest guy on this podcast who you will not be hearing from today. So in our last episode, we got some additional information about what happened the day of graduation, thanks to Belle's familiarity with a lot of the folks in the Sovereign House legislature. And after that, Triarch Thistleodora and Gideon Stormcaller, who is the interim Secretary of War, along with other members of the Magen Marshal faculty who were not under the Energy Dome, decided for some reason that it would be best if the bards acted as emissaries for peace. And so the bards are dispatched to the Alcazar, Phineas Malveaux's former summer home, to meet with Lucinda O'Cour. So the next morning, after spending quite a bit of time figuring out which horses you want to take with you, You bards head off to the Alcazar, which you know from Goff Dromior, who is the satyr that you had taken with you from the commencement ceremony, that the Alcazar is apparently where the Malveaux loyalists are currently based. And then when you got to the Alcazar, thanks to a couple of really lucky dice rolls on your part, you bards very easily located the room where Lucinda was. In fact, she just opened the door up and called you upstairs. So you met with Lucinda, and you saw, right as soon as you walked in, that she had 2 people with her. But you also detected there were some other people in the room as well, and decided, pretty wisely, not to be violent in this encounter. After some protracted negotiations led by Clarice, you learn that what Lucinda wants in order to at least slow down the timeline on Malveaux's demands is a hostage. Specifically, she wants Triarch Thistle to be a hostage, and she expects Thistle to be at the Alcazar by midnight that night. So, with not a whole lot of time to lose, you all leave to deliver this message to Sovereign House, but you don't even get off the grounds of the Alcazar before a large dog-like creature approaches you. And this was Absolonova, who is the other best bow from Ruckus's community, and she was sent to retrieve him. Apparently, Malveaux's supporters had actually descended on Poochton and were rounding up the dogfolk and forcing them to support Malveaux's cause. Sadly, that included Ruckus's family, so Ruckus dutifully agreed to leave with Absolonova to go rescue his family and presumably fight off the Malveaux factions in the north. And as the 2 best bow hurried away, the rest of you bards sing a farewell song to him. So that about brings us to the present. And now my question for you is, are you all heading off from the Alcazar right away, short one member of your party? Or is there anything that you need to say to each other, or even just anything you need to check on before you start to make your way back to Sovereign House?
That was weird, right? That whole bow thing? No? Just me? Okay.
Oh no, super weird.
It's a real shame that our friend Ruckus won't be helping us. Really love that Ruckus's energy.
Sure, but apparently he's like a, I don't know, chosen one or something, so, maybe he's gonna just live his best life.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Also, was I the only one who didn't know that, they could talk?
It's specific to the best bow.
No, to be clear, Belle thought that they were all, regular dogs. They understand words, and they can learn to speak insofar as, the singular words that Ruckus was using, but did not understand that they actually had a language.
So you thought that they were really like the dogs on Instagram with the buttons.
Yes, because Belle is not bright, y'all.
Or is at least pretending not to be bright.
Yeah, let's go with that. But yes, so Belle thought they were shockingly intelligent dogs, like the ones on Instagram.
So you learned something about your departing party member. You also have to go back to Sovereign House and tell them that you need to go back to Sovereign House and tell them that Thistle needs to give herself up as a hostage to Malveaux. Is there anything you guys needed to talk about with your conversation with Lucinda? No? Okay. So you have an uneventful ride back to Sovereign House. And as you approach Sovereign House, you see a gnomish woman standing outside, pretty eagerly awaiting your return, even though she's not somebody who had been at Sovereign House when you departed. Does anybody want to roll a history check and see if you know who this person is?
Clarice is all about that. That's a 15.
Yeah, so Clarice, you definitely, given your family history, would know the person that you are seeing outside of Sovereign House is Raylan Dawnshout. Raylan is a late-night anchor on the Echo Shard News Network, but she's generally regarded as kind of a tabloid journalist. Think, in our world, more Weekly World News than National Enquirer. Really ridiculous, impossible stories. And because of that, she wasn't even invited to commencement. Now, the fact that she wasn't invited to commencement means that she is the only journalist in Shalamir and one of the only journalists in Urfara who is not now trapped under the energy dome at the stadium. So this is her chance. She is real excited to see all of you. Really, really excited to be there. So as you come back to Sovereign House, Raylan is going to come trotting up to you, and she's got a microphone. She's like, hello, Raylan, Dawn Shout. I'm from the Echo Shard News Network. May I ask you a few questions?
No.
Okay, somebody else?
Sure. Yeah, you can ask me whatever you want.
So, what's your name? Could you please tell me and spell it, please?
Oh, sure. My name is Kelonian Stumps. And, spelling, I think, is something that depends on people. You don't have to have an official spelling for everything. But
we'll just figure it out.
Okay, great.
Were you at graduation today?
Well, I was sort of outside of the graduation. I could tell you about it for a little bit if you'd like.
Yes, I'd love to know. Eyewitness account. What happened today?
I was at the graduation, but I didn't go inside because I was at the graduation, but I'm a protesting man.
All right, so you were protesting graduation.
That's correct.
What were you protesting?
Oh, well, they had the speaker come to the graduation, Gideon Stormcaller. I'm sure he's a nice guy and all that, nothing against him personally, but I think our republic needs a little bit of a reminder of peace, especially in these troubled times, and having the Minister of War come and speak is just another reminder of the awful violence of war.
Ironic, don't you think, that the acting secretary of war was here during a declaration of war?
No, that's not irony.
Well, okay then. She's gonna look around the rest of the party. So, it's my understanding that, actually, is there one of you missing?
No.
Because I thought that there were supposed to be 5 bards who were dispatched to try and make peace negotiations.
Nobody's missing. We know where everyone is.
I guess I just got some information wrong.
I guess you did.
Where are you coming from?
That's classified.
Could you share with me anything that you've learned?
What do you want?
Well, is it true that Malveaux is actually a vampire and that's why he's not dead?
No.
What about his alleged love child with Lucinda O'Core, the Bat Boy?
You're making shit up.
Can I just say, I think Belle probably is very familiar with the sort of tabloid stuff that she reports. And I think that she is just, loving, Kelonian. She was hoping that Kelonian would go on a whole stump speech, if you will pardon the pun. But now with Clarice, she's just having a great time watching this. Just not even trying to hide it. Biggest grin on her face. Thinks this is hilarious.
All right, well, Raylan notices that big grin on your face and turns and says, "What about you? Who are you?"
I'm gonna actually, Jill, tell me if this feels wrong or right to you, but I feel like the Surnomials have probably been covered.
Oh, yes.
In the tabloids?
Yes.
So I don't know if she would know who Belle is or not.
I feel like in certain contexts she certainly would, but she's not expecting Belle to be sent on a diplomatic mission.
That's fair. All right. So in that case, Belle is going to she's going to do her best to do a straight face and fail utterly, and she's going to be like, "Me? Oh, I'm nobody."
If you're nobody, why were you sent off on this diplomatic mission?
I don't know. Why are you reporting on us?
I'm gonna just cut in a friend who I'm not gonna name. You're gonna just let this one flounder, I think.
Why are you the one reporting on, like, the biggest news event of the decade?
You see Raylan's face kind of fall a little bit at that question. And she goes, all of my colleagues are under the dome, and so they sent me to report on this because there was nobody else.
Right.
So you get it!
So maybe, just maybe, you should ask us questions like that they would ask. Maybe not about, like, the made-up love child stuff.
I mean, my sources are pretty strong about the Bat Boy child.
I'm gonna refer you to comment A.
With all respect, I'm sure the administration has a public information officer, and we really should be moving on and completing our business.
Yeah, no time to chat. Gotta go save the world. Okay, thanks. Bye. Love you.
So as you all go walking back into Sovereign House, she's like a one-woman paparazzi scrum. So she's just running after. She's like, wait, what are Malveaux's demands? Is Malveaux really back? What about Lucinda O'Core? Is she the one running the show after all? And so you just have all of these questions following you as you walk into Sovereign House and close the door behind you.
And the moment the door closes, Belle presumably joins Clarice in turning to Colonian and being like, you were so controlled. You didn't even make a statement, really.
And I have to, on Belle's part, that is so much disappointment. Like, she was like, this was your moment, dude.
Oh, wait, for which part?
Just like, I was kind of expecting you to talk to the people about peace.
Oh, why? I feel like I did.
Okay.
Old friend, I really am going to have to ask you to clarify this protest because we've been at peace for 30 years, so what were you protesting?
Oh, Hendrik, that's a pretty good point. I don't know if you've noticed, but occasionally I seem to sort of forget the details of our nation and our republic and all those sorts of things. But, Hendrik, I gotta say, I think that, there ain't nothing like peace. And I think we could all use a little reminder here now and again at this College of Mage and Martial. I like the mage part. Martial part, it's a lot of fighting.
So I believe that what you were protesting was just that the acting Secretary of War was the commencement speaker.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay.
The acting Secretary of War who has had nothing to do for 30 years.
Yeah, so let me just provide you with a little bit of history here. The reason that he is the acting Secretary of War is because it has not been a priority for the legislature to confirm the nomination of any Secretary of War in the last 30 years because the country has been at peace. So like other secretaries get confirmed because they need to move through the process. And for him, it's like, well, we're not at war, so we don't necessarily like need a real Secretary of War. We'll just call him the acting Secretary of War and it's fine. It's very much like the Trump administration in that regard. So
it's not because there's, I don't know, a single senator holding up any confirmations of military personnel.
It's just that they haven't even bothered to do confirmation hearings for this role because they don't really see a need for it.
It's the action item that keeps getting bumped to the bottom of the list. Like it's on the agenda literally every meeting and they literally never get to it.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I think that Belle and Clarice are probably the only ones who would actually know this. Clarice for sure knows this. Belle probably is aware. The rest of you just probably wonder why every couple of years there's a different acting Secretary of War. So you get inside of Sovereign House. Clarice and Belle compliment Kilonian on his composure and ability to say a lot without actually saying anything.
Well,
compliment, complain.
I'm nothing if not chill.
Waiting just inside the door for you is Philomena, the university president, Thistle, the Triarch, and Gideon. Philomena mentions as you're coming in that the other professors who were there have gone off to try and see if they can figure out how to break the energy dome. Gideon is going to go up to Clarice and say, so, how did it go?
1 week for a hostage, Odora.
And Thistle looks at you, me?
Yeah. Sorry, babes.
How do they expect us to be able to make anything happen, to negotiate, to just figure out this conflict if one of the Triarchs is a hostage?
I think that is the idea.
Andric said it. Like, they're not running a tip-top operation. This is as close to a war strategy as I've seen. Like, they're just saying, you need a little bit more time before we crush you. Here's what you can do to get that time. Like, there was no consideration of other brokering.
How do I know that they're not just going to kill me on the spot?
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I mean, she made no promises, but among the things she seemed to indicate, and Andric, I hope you'll check my work on this, she seemed to have a very specific idea about what she could do once she had you. And I think the fact that it wasn't just any Triarch or sort of a generic power swap suggests that she has some interest in leveraging your abilities and position.
That was my read as well.
I mean, we also said the other Triarchs are, like, not available.
Well, I mean, they are on their way. But
yeah, but, like, you're the one who she can take as hostage now.
I think that this is more personal. My parents worked directly with Lucinda before they defected.
Yeah, it felt personal.
Okay. I will figure this out. In the meanwhile, I've asked Acting Secretary Stormcaller to go gather the standing army, and he has asked if he can bring the four of you. Actually, where did the dog go?
He's a dog folk, first of all. And he's doing an important family-related just initiative.
At the risk of making a pun, I believe he's on a fetch quest.
I was hoping that we would have more muscle for Secretary Stormcaller, but okay, yeah, the four of you are you're going up to Tabortzava as his bodyguards, I guess?
Wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
He's asked if you can accompany them.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm pretty sure that Ruckus was like 80% fluff. So, like, muscle-wise, I think we're, like, doing okay.
I just, like, obviously, I'm happy to go with Uncle Gideon, but, like, don't we have some other options?
I think if there were other options, they wouldn't be asking us.
Come on, guys, we got this. We are newly graduated, excited, competent, and capable adventurers. Yeah!
I agree. We can do this. Do you mind if we're called friends instead of bodyguards?
Belle definitely puts her hand out for a high five.
Gideon just looks at you and he's like, yeah, we can call you whatever you want. Like, and he looks at Clarice and he says, your parents wanted me to bring you, and I figured we should bring the rest of them too.
Fair enough. Excuse me for a second, but I gotta have a word with Thistle.
Belle's high five is still hanging in the air.
Kelonian gives you a high five.
Yeah! Body friends. No, wait, that's no.
Clarice is gonna try to take Thistle aside for a sec, and genuinely like far enough to be out of hearing range. She's also gonna drop a little of her performative rasp because this is rough. I know we don't always see eye to eye, and I just want to make sure you know if there's anything you want me to convey to my mother or to anyone, really. I know what you've done for her, and I know that she would have your back, and so I do too. I'm really sorry about this.
I appreciate that. Tell your mother, if we all get out of this, if I don't get out of this, but everyone else does, if the country is still standing, to make sure whoever succeeds me does a better job.
Okay. I will. And just, don't let them see you sweat.
Oh, I've got a glamour for that.
You know what I mean. Be the Triarch.
She extends a hand to you.
And Clarice returns the handshake.
I think you all have a train to catch.
And I think you've got a long ride.
So, is there anything that anybody needs to do before your train? You don't have a lot of time, but you have a little bit of time if there's anything that you need to gather or talk about or anything else.
As we pan back to the rest of the group, Belle is workshopping the group name with anybody who's willing to participate.
Okay.
So
what have we come up with so far?
I think she's like still riffing on friends and bodyguards. So she's like going like bodyguards.
Ooh, I love
Bardy, body friends, Bardy, Bardy guards.
Bardy guards.
Bardies? Hardy, Bardy, Hardy, Fofardy.
Is the problem that Kelonian had with the name bodyguards the body part or the guard part?
Belle doesn't know, and she doesn't seem to think it matters.
Oh, no, I just like friends.
I like friends, too. Friends, and fabulous friends. Friendy buddies.
I like bodyguards.
While this is going on, Clarice is going to use one of her special racial traits.
Okay.
She has silent speech and can telepathically speak to one creature that she shares a language with. So she's going to try to get into Gideon's head.
Do you need to roll for that, or is it just
It's just
automatic? Okay.
automatic. Yeah. Uncle Gideon, don't react. It's Clarice.
This is not the first time that you've communicated with Gideon this way. And in fact, if it's a racial trait, it's not even the first time somebody in your family has communicated with him this way. So he's just shuffling through some papers, like that he just picked up off of a desk. They're not even his papers, but he's trying to look very nonchalant.
What do we need to be ready for here?
A train ride.
Okay, but like, I'm happy to accompany you. Obviously, I get that my parents are worried, but like, if we're pretending to be bodyguards, what's the threat?
We don't know how deep this incursion has gotten. We don't know what's been infiltrated. We don't know if the military base is safe. We don't know if the trains are safe. So, I mean, that's the real reason that I would need bodyguards. but I think that your parents are operating on the assumption that all of that stuff is going to be fine, and we're just kind of trying to take you out of the path of danger.
Okay. What do you need from us, really, realistically?
When we get to Tabortzava, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to encounter. The last time I was there, the army was kind of in shambles. You know, we haven't really needed an army in 3 decades, so yeah, that.
All right. Well, I don't know the Andric guy as well, but Colonian is a good, like, motivator of people. He's kind. He can see what people have as strengths. You can definitely use him to sort of identify, like, the people who are loyal versus disloyal, that kind of stuff.
But isn't he like a pacifist? Is he really going to be helpful trying to rally the troops?
I mean, I'm not saying that you use him for a pep rally, but, like, I think if you're trying to understand how people are feeling, how they're handling the fear, that kind of stuff, I think he's got a good sense of it. Whereas, like, Andric, like, what I know about him is just, like, he is all in, hard worker, just, like, trying to do right in this world. He's the one that you want to trust as, like, a deputy.
Okay, I will take that under advisement. We should get going.
Okay.
Is there anything that was happening while that conversation was happening?
Making sure I have enough chicken feed for Angel.
Yes, actually, let's check in with Angel. How is Angel doing?
Well, Angel is hanging out in the portable chicken coop on Keylonian's shell. And Angel's doing great. Angel, you know, there's a little window on the side. Angel pokes her little head out, you know, looks around. Sometimes bugs fly in there. That's great. Angel eats them up. And, you know, every once in a while, Keylonian throws some feed in the chicken coop, and Angel's okay.
Do you have enough feed to get through, you know, like you're about to go on a trip. You don't know how long you're going to be gone for.
Do I?
I don't know. But you can, if you're worried about it, you can roll an investigation check and see if you can find the Sovereign House kitchen.
Oh, yes. 19.
Yeah, you, there's a big sign that says catering kitchen this way.
It's chicken feed.
So yeah, when you get to the catering pantry, you're going to see there's, like, you know, all the dry goods that they would need for lunches and stuff. So, like, chips, bread, lots of, like, plates, flatware, that sort of thing. And for whatever reason, one of the cabinets is gardening supplies. And in that cabinet, there is a bag of grass seed that could probably work just fine for Angel.
Beautiful. Angel, you're going to love this. Not too much at once now.
I'm sorry, did somebody just balk?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything
Love
else?
it.
If it's quite important that Gideon, or I'm sorry, Secretary Stormcaller be kept safe, and you think there may be a threat, do you have healer's kits, potions, anything that we might benefit from supply-wise that we should bring with us?
Are you asking Thistle or Gideon, or who are you asking?
The assembled folks at Sovereign
Okay.
House. Like, you know, I don't know if they have a quartermaster who's...
Yeah, Clarva is going to step out and just kind of point to the like there's a map of Sovereign House on the wall, and he's going to point. It's just going to be like supply closet.
I'm gonna go look and see if there's anything useful in the supply closet. Assuming that we are permitted access to it.
There's pretty much nobody who's going to be able to stop you.
Sure.
So
I feel like Belle is familiar with that supply closet, but not with the contents.
oh no, Belle has had some good times in that closet.
That is all. That's my contribution. Enjoy.
So you get to the supply closet. What are you looking for?
If there's anything like healing potions, additional crossbow bolts, like that kind of thing. Like, I'm not looking for anything super fancy, but...
Right. So it's a supply closet, not a munitions closet. So
Okay.
you're not going to find crossbow bolts, other weapons. But there might be some other useful goods. Why don't you roll an investigation check?
Investigation. Alright, that's not too bad. 22.
But not natural 20.
No, 19 plus 3.
Okay. So in the closet, you find a half-empty box of healing potions. Box is supposed to hold 6, so there are 3 bottles of healing potions. You also find a couple of medicinal kits, which might be useful for Kelonian since he's got some clerical training. And you find a bunch of, like, hardtack type rations.
I'm taking them.
Taking everything?
Yep.
Okay.
Belle wants to ask if there are any bags of holding, because, like, we're going places, we're doing things, we're making moves, but, like, it'd be cool if we could put everything into one spot.
So there wouldn't be in the supply closet, but if you go back to the cloakroom outside of the legislative chambers, you might be able to find one.
Cool, I'm gonna do that. I'm sure she's familiar with that room as well.
I'm sure she is. It's soundproof. So
Nice.
why don't you head back to that cloakroom and roll an investigation check.
Ah, yes, the thing I'm so good at. Oh, that's a 15!
Okay, with a 15, it takes you several minutes, but stashed deep in the pocket of a coat that belongs to who knows who, you find a silk pouch, and when you reach a hand into it, you find that there's way more stuff already in that pouch than should ever fit in something that size.
Yes! I'm going to take it, and I'm going to... I assume we've mentioned that there's, like, papers and pens and stuff in that room.
Yep.
Outside of the cloakroom.
Well, there is in the legislative chamber, so you can go in there.
So I'm going to, like, write a note, and it's going to have the most pristine and truly bouncy handwriting that you've ever seen. We're talking hearts over the eyes.
Yep.
Bubble lettering. She was that girl in school. And she's going to leave a note that's like, took your bag of holding, needed it to save the world, we'll bring it back ASAP, XOXO, Belle.
Got it. Roll me another investigation check.
Oh boy. Oh my god! Sorry. That was a 14. Guys, I have a -1 to investigation. This is amazing.
With a 14, you realize that maybe you should see what's already in that bag?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What's in the bag?
Think of, like, the most disgusting granny purse you've ever encountered. It's like
hard candies and
hard
old
candy,
tissues.
used tissues, a lot of crumbs, a Sudoku book.
Cool,
but also,
cool.
there is another healing potion in that bag.
Yeah! Win. Okay, Belle is going to find, like, a random bag, like your equivalent of, like, a grocery store bag.
Yeah.
To put all of the old lady things in. And just, like, hang it with the note next to the coat that she got the bag of holding from.
Like, over the hanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. She's going to turn over the bag of holding and, like, shake out the crumbs.
You want to gather those crumbs up for Angel or anything?
I don't think that Belle thinks that many steps ahead.
Okay. Fair.
So, I think yes, but I think Belle no. So she's shaking out the crumbs, but she's being very considerate. She's like, maybe the person who owns this was saving those crumbs for a reason. I'm not just gonna throw them out. So she shakes the crumbs into the other bag.
Into the plastic bag.
Yeah. Hangs it up, leaves the note. She does take the healing potion. She's like, I can replace that. That's fine.
Okay. All right, you can add 1 healing potion to your inventory. And the other thing that I will tell you is that as you are kind of exploring and trying to get yourselves together before you head off on this train, you all realize that you've seen some serious shit in the last 24 hours, and you level up.
Woo!
We realized this. You realized you could level up.
It's like a whole year's worth of university education just happened to you since yesterday morning.
I will say, when rejoining the group from the supply closet, I'd like to go to Colonian.
Uh-huh.
I know escorting the Secretary of War is not exactly your idea of a good time, but if things go south, we would appreciate your help. And I'm going to give him the healer's kit that I pulled from the...
2 of them.
Oh, say no more, Andric. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This will be very helpful for me to help. So it'll be helpful for my helpfulness. Thank you very much. And for the record, I don't mind escorting Gideon at all. I have nothing against Gideon personally. I'm sure Gideon's a great guy.
And I'm also going to keep 1 of the 3 healing potions.
Okay.
I'm giving 1 to Belle and 1 to Gideon.
Okay, so Belle now has 2 healing potions.
Clarice.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm going to give 1 to Clarice and 1 to Gideon.
Okay. Great.
And just to clarify, are those just regular potions of healing?
Just regular old potions of healing.
All right, just checking before I add it.
Yeah. If you had rolled a little bit higher in your second investigation check, because the DC was 15, you might have found out that those hard candies had some healing properties too.
Listen, I am so proud of my girl for getting above 5.
Yeah. The Bards and Gideon leave Sovereign House and head to the train station, which is only a few blocks away. Shalimere train station is a grand pre-autocracy structure made of marble, wrought iron, and leaded glass. A giant clock takes up most of the roofline of the outer facade, and grotesques gaze down at everyone who enters or exits the structure. The interior of the station is unusually busy at all hours, but because so many citizens were trapped under the energy dome, it is eerily quiet, even though the people who are there are full of frenetic, chaotic energy, clearly eager to get far away from whatever Malveaux and his supporters have planned next. The Bards and Acting Secretary Stormcaller quickly advance to their platform, but before they can board their waiting train, Stormcaller speaks. Hold on, we're waiting for 1 more. Do any of you know Cretaceous Thunderthigh?
Like, define no.
I mean, I'm asked, do you know him? Do you know who he is?
He plays in the cafe sometimes.
Okay, so we need to keep an eye out for him.
Well, Cretaceous Thunderthigh. I'd know those thighs anywhere. He and I are jam buddies.
Oh, no.
Belle is going to pretend like she didn't look down at her own thighs immediately upon hearing the name Cretaceous Thunderthigh.
You would know him from open mics.
Sure, but it was just an instinct.
For the record, by jams, I mean music, not legs. Which you might think I was talking about.
I've heard gams. I've never heard jams.
Oh, jam. All right.
Oh, I thought you'd taken to making jelly in your free time.
Well, we also make jams. Jelly as well. We call it jams and jams.
Do you wear your pajamas?
We do. Yes. How did you know? Jams and jams and jams.
Oh my goddess!
After a few moments of scanning the crowd, the party and Acting Secretary Stormcaller spot a particularly tall and distinct figure. He notices you too and calls out,
Uncle Gideon, over here.
We're going to pause here for a moment because we actually have a new player to introduce. Tej, please introduce yourself first and then tell us about your character.
Hi, my name is Tej Sinha Das, he, him, and my character is Cretaceous Thunderthigh, also he, him.
So tell us, what does Cretaceous look like?
Cretaceous Thunderthigh is a sort of subspecies of lizard folk called Rex folk. In effect, they are Tyrannosaurus Rex lizard folk. Very large, about 7 feet tall, although Cretaceous is particularly large even for his species. But critically, they do have the comparatively small, stubby little T-Rex arms. He has 2 big claws on his hand and then a thumb. He usually, however, wears mittens because these are very large claws and he doesn't want to break stuff.
It's very
all
thoughtful
the
of
time.
him.
Yeah. He's just under 7 feet tall. He's green with some black sort of stripes and spots. He also critically has very large legs. The Thunder Thigh family are famous for their power in battle. So they have big teeth, big jaws. They don't really use the claws on their hands very much, but they also like to kick stuff because they have such big, thick, juicy quads. And Cretaceous is from this stock. However, he doesn't really indulge that side of himself very much.
So I take it that Cretaceous is also a student at Mage and Marshall?
That is correct. Cretaceous also is part of the graduating class of Mage and Marshall this year. He attended Sluvere College as a bard, primarily as an operatic singer, as that was the skill that he was able to sort of do well in Bard College with, but he really wants to get into playing, and he carries around a little instrument called a strum viol, very much like a violin or viola, but using a bow with his limited mobility on a violin or viola would be a little bit tough, so it's mainly just a strumming instrument.
So I take it that you, as a Sluverdian, know Chelonian.
I do. Chelonian is a good friend of mine. Well, yeah, it's about as close as friends get for Cretaceous. He's a very grumpy person. Not mean, but definitely grumpy. Chelonian, however, is sort of a jam buddy, and is one of the only people who doesn't really ask questions or try to get me to calm down. He just likes to jam, and and I like to jam with him and play a little bit and sort of increase my skill level in a very comfortable, low pressure environment, which is something that Chelonian really excels at creating.
Okay. So I want to take us back, because you're not under the energy dome, but you're not with the other bards.
Indeed.
So I'd like to take us back to the morning of graduation. How did your day start?
All right. So, the night before graduation, Cretaceous has a sort of internship coming up. He's going to be a very conspicuously large ensemble member in an opera after graduation. So he's been up late nights practicing. So it's kind of sore in his throat. He's grumpy, he's sleepy, he's tired, but he does attend a brief jam session with Chelonian.
Tell me a little bit about this jam session that you guys are having.
Yeah, so just strumming along, playing my strum viol, Chelonian on the guitar.
Great.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do we like to play, Chelonian?
Oh, well, I know I'd probably be getting ready with a few protest songs.
Uh-huh.
You sound really exasperated about Chelonian's protest songs. Do you want to just kind of show us how that encounter went?
Yeah.
All right, buddy, ready to do this next one? You're gonna like this one. It's called War. We Don't Like It, No Siree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready? You seem like it may be a little down there.
Well, I'm not a huge proponent of war either. I mean, especially since my family is so big into military and stuff. But I'm not necessarily against it either. It's important. I don't know. It's just.
Well, I'm surprised to hear this. I just figured, with those big jaws of yours, that those were meant for singing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to use them for. And, obviously my family doesn't see eye to eye with me for that. They want to use their teeth for crushing bone and whatever else. But Yeah, I mean, I want to sing, I want to play, and you know, my family just, especially my mom, being so big in the military and everything, she just doesn't respect that. And so, I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this, but they're of course not coming tomorrow because they don't care that I'm a bard and that I sing and, you know, I don't fight, and I'm a little wimpy big boy and all that stuff. But so you know what? If they're not going, I'm not going. Yeah, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need it.
I'm sorry to hear that. You know what might make you feel better? A rousing rendition of Don't Go Into Battle, No Siree.
Sure, I guess. I don't know, man. My heart's not in this kind of stuff right now. I'm like I said, I'm not a pacifist like you. I get it. I respect it. It's just that's not what this is about for me.
Are you saying you don't want to come with me to the protest?
Look, man, I don't want to be anywhere near graduation, all right? I'm not going to walk in graduation, so I don't want to be out there. I know it's important to you, but I don't want to do it, okay? Why do you not get this? I just don't want to be there.
Oh, okay, buddy. I guess I better get going.
Yeah. I'm gonna go sleep this off, all right? I'll see you around.
You want to say goodnight to Angel like you always do?
Good night, Angel.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it didn't sound like your heart was in it, but I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
So that was the night before graduation. And then you've decided to skip graduation ceremony, so you don't have an alarm set or anything. What time do you wake up?
Cretaceous wakes up around noon, groggy, grumpy, has slept basically the entire evening of yesterday and all throughout the night and all through the morning.
So you got like 12 hours of sleep last night. You should be feeling pretty rested now.
Yeah, that's not really how sleep works for me. Yeah, I mean, just the more sleep you get, the more you just want to keep sleeping, you know? So, especially you wake up and you toss and turn, you're just trying to get another 5 more minutes and another 5 more minutes, and it just kind of makes you feel worse and worse. So I get up and smack my head on the ceiling as usual because it's so short. There's a little dent up there right where my head has very often bumped into the ceiling. But, you know, it is what it is.
So how do you... What do you do after you wake up? Presumably you get dressed, brush your very large teeth, then what?
Well, I've been sleeping for a while, so I'm pretty groggy, so I'm gonna go to Enchanted Grounds and get a cup of coffee.
Okay, so you walk out of Sluvair, which is kind of on the edge of campus, and there's the botanical gardens to walk through. And as you emerge from the botanical gardens, now you're kind of in the central area of campus. Will you roll a perception check?
Sure. A total of 8.
So I'll tell you what you don't notice. You Tage the player will know that it is very quiet as you are walking through campus, but Cretaceous is probably just a little too tired to really notice any of that.
Yeah.
So you head over toward the kind of central courtyard of campus, and you get to the door of Enchanted Grounds, and there's a sign on it that says
back in 5.
What do you do?
Huh. Well, that's interesting. I attempt to push the pull door for a while. That definitely. Before finally deciding, all right, yep, it's not a prank. She's not inside, just, being her usual off-putting self. This place is definitely closed. That sucks. I really needed this. God. All right. So I'll just go back to my room then. So yeah, I'm just gonna trudge back to my room, kind of stomping my way along.
Roll me another perception check.
All right. 6 total. I have very large eyes too as a T-Rex. They're supposed to be very visually perceptive.
Right, because like they see things that move, right? Well, so that's why you don't perceive anything, because nothing is moving. There is nobody out and about on campus. You are so groggy.
I don't care.
You don't even notice.
Yeah, I don't.
There are probably more nature sounds than you would normally hear on campus, but you're not hearing, like, there's no hustle and bustle. And this is after graduation would have happened. So, like, you don't notice any of this. But for the sake of our listeners, that is what is going on. So you get back, you walk back through the botanical garden, back into Slough Air, back to your dorm room with the divot on the ceiling right over your bed. What do you do now?
Well, I've been in the midst of packing since the semester is ending, so pack for a little bit and throw on the radio, just see what's playing.
The radio, as you refer to it, is it's an echo shard. What station do you tune it to first?
I'll turn it to the news.
When you turn on the news, you're going to hear a voice that's somewhat familiar to you, but it's going to take you a moment to place it because it's not a voice that you're used to hearing at this time of day. Will you roll me a history check and see if you can place it?
17 total.
Okay, so you're hearing the voice of Raylan Dawnshout.
Dawnshout?
Yes.
This isn't her time slot.
It's not.
I fall asleep for 12 hours and everything just goes all upside down.
Yeah, so what you are going to hear is going to tell you what you've missed in the last 12 hours while you were sleeping. Good evening. I'm here on the grounds of the Shalamere University of the Magical and Martial Arts, perhaps better known to some of our listeners as Mage and Martial. Today was supposed to be a festive day, celebrating both Mage and Martial's newest batch of graduates and 3 decades of freedom from the autocrat Phineas Malveaux, who previously ruled over our country with an iron fist. Shortly after graduation kicked off this morning, a loud crack of magical thunder showed that all was not well here in Shalamere. As robed supporters of Malveaux filed into Memorial Stadium, a seemingly impenetrable energy dome descended over the entire graduating class as well as the graduation audience, trapping everyone inside. And then, to the surprise of all who had long believed Malveaux to be dead, the likeness of a seemingly alive Malveaux was beamed into the sky and began to address the crowd.
Well, hello there, Shalamere. I am sorry to interrupt your festivities today, but gosh, I sure have missed you these last 30 years. Lucky for all of you, I'm pretty hard to kill. So now I'm back, babies. You miss me? Don't worry about answering. I won't be able to hear you. I'm in an undisclosed location until the mechanisms are all in place for me to come back again.
Malveaux, or the very believable Malveaux impersonator, went on to demand the immediate resignation of the Triarchy and the complete restoration of the autocracy to power. Triarch Thistleodora and Udvara's acting Secretary of War, Gideon Stormcaller, who were both at the graduation but not trapped under the dome, have retreated with members of Mage and Martial's faculty to Sovereign House. That's where they're likely discussing how to handle this incursion and trying to determine how to free those trapped under the energy dome. We've now learned that the 2 other Triarchs, Harry and Cantrell and Carlotta Abledown, have been notified of what's happening and are reportedly en route from Platysima to Shalamere. Now, earlier today, we reported that Odora, Stormcaller, and the Mage and Martial faculty who headed to Sovereign House were accompanied by 5 would-be grads of the university who were not trapped under the dome. I can now confirm the identities of the 5 students who were trying to aid in today's rescue attempts after the majority of the attendees of Mage and Martial's graduation were trapped under the energy dome. I have their university badge signatures here.
Indra Carolholt, Urade Hall.
Clarice Sauercloud, Talmadge Hall. Belsernamio, Flatley Hall.
Colonian Stumps, Saluver College.
Ruckus, Dogma, Go, Bananas.
Now, sources are telling me... Oh no, that can't be good. Sources are telling me that the 5 newly minted bards are being tasked with assisting the Triarchy in fending off the coup attempt being led by Phineas Malveaux and his supporters. We'll have more details on this story as it develops. May the gods help us all. Cretacio, you've just heard some pretty shocking news. How do you react?
Wow. All my classmates are in there. I don't don't know what to do. I mean, I can't go do anything. I don't really want to go home either. I don't know. So I just kind of sit there for a while, as you might. I have no idea what one could possibly try to do at that time.
You're in shock.
Yeah.
You lose track of time.
Yeah.
It could be 20 minutes. It could be 3 hours. Just pondering what's happening. The radio broadcast, the shard, is still playing in the background. So you're getting updates. It would appear that Raylan is the only reporter who wasn't trapped in the dome. But she's there now, and she's your source of information. And so you're listening to this, and you're really not doing much of anything else. And you hear a knock on the door. Do you open it?
Who's still here? Yeah, I guess I'll go open it, see what's up.
So you open the door, and there is a gnome dressed in kind of business casual. It's the way that a lot of the pages at Sovereign House are usually dressed when they don't have to be on the floor of the legislature. And he looks up at you quite a bit from his gnomish height. He says, are you Cretaceous Thunderthigh?
Unfortunately, yeah, that's me.
I have a letter for you. I'm glad you're here. I'll let them know that you're here. I have a letter for you. Here you go. I have to get back.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
He's already gone. He's already gone.
All right then. All right, I just struggle to close the door with my little arm there.
Do you open the letter?
Well, let's see. Does it say anything about who it's from on the outside?
Roll me a history check.
That is a 7 total.
It doesn't say who it's from, and you're having trouble placing the handwriting on it.
Okay. All right, well, I'll open this bad boy up, see what this could possibly be about at a time like this. And
so you open the letter, and the Thunderthigh family crest is on the top of the letter.
Oh, boy. All right, I guess I'll have to read this.
Okay. So here is the urgent message that you receive. Son, we've just heard about what happened at graduation this morning. I'm hoping you're as stubborn as ever and decided to boycott graduation like you told us you would when we told you we wouldn't come. I know your Uncle Gideon is still alive, and I've asked him to bring you home, as he sent a message ahead that he'll be heading to Tabortzava to call up the reserves. Cretaceous, I know this isn't the life you wanted, but we need you here, training to join the fight if it comes to that. Gideon has a train ticket for you, first thing tomorrow morning. Be there. Please believe me when I say that I do love you. Your mother.
Yeah, I'm sure that sounded nice while she was writing it, but look, I can hear the passive aggression in there, all right? Tomorrow morning, she wants me back at the barracks to train.
She wants you on a train to get to the barracks to do your training.
To do the training,
different kinds of train there.
Yeah. Yes. Great. I've spent the last 4 years trying to get away from this stuff. I mean, yeah, I guess I keep in shape a little bit. I mean, I have some weights in my room and stuff, but I can't do this.
Roll a perception check.
Nat 20. For this guy.
I just love when the best rolls happen in
for like the most least consequential circumstances. Oh, yeah, I think was it Ashley the first day who rolled a nat 1 and then also a nat 20?
I think so. Yeah. All right. So with your nat 20, you hold the letter up to the light, and imprinted on the letter, very faintly, is a watermark that you've never seen before, but it is an image of you as a child next to your mother. And in seeing that image, you realize that she does actually mean what she says.
Wow. I guess, well, maybe being away all this time, maybe she kind of softened up a little. I mean, she wanted me to be tough, right? I mean, that's not a bad thing out here in the real world, but I guess Mom needs me. I guess Urvra needs me. I have to do this. I want to be an artist and I want to sing, but this has to happen first. I have to butch up for this. I have to train. I have to work out. I have to get into shape, and my mom needs me. I have to fight. And if I'm going to fight, then I will sing about it. It's time for a training montage.
Yes!
All right. Cretacio's gonna start working out. Not that a single workout session is going to make up for years and years of not doing actual formal combat training, but he's gonna work out nonetheless. He's psyched, he's into it. He's doing bicep curls. They are like max 10 pounds because his arms are comparatively tiny, but he is doing bicep curls. He's doing push-ups. Again, not really humongous push-ups. He can like barely do 5 and he gets maybe 4 inches off the ground, but he is doing a lot of push-ups, so he's trying. He's doing a lot of squats because he has very big, powerful thighs. His siblings and his parents could probably go well into the hundreds. Cretaceo can hit maybe 200 on a good day. Alright, but he's doing some power squats. He's curling some weights with his tail. He's jogging around his room, shaking the whole building as he does it. He's getting into it. His jaws are sweaty, knees weak, claws are heavy. There's porridge on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to kick ass. But he keeps on remembering his mom's face when he said that he was off to college. A bard who sings and plays and amasses knowledge, an embarrassment to a warrior society, whose only talent is fighting and discipline and violence, but his family needs him now. He must get into shape, he must preside his conflict and assume his rightful place as the heir to a warlike dynasty of beasts. The ones who say the realm are the ones with clawed feet. He'll forget about his opera, he'll lock away his strings, he'll report to the barracks, but all he'd rather do is sing.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Cage.
Thank you.
Yes.
The end really makes it.
Yeah. So after the training montage and that very stirring song, what does Cretaceo do?
All right. Well, the train is in the evening. Cretaceo works out for about an hour before he realizes how out of shape he is and just kind of slumps and starts packing again. But not really gonna do anything else. Just gonna head to the train station in the evening.
Okay. So you start to make your way to the train station. Roll me. We'll do another perception check. We'll see how this one goes for you.
Total of 9. I have a +3 in perception. Oh boy.
It's just the way that the dice go sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah, you still don't really notice anything in particular, and you don't notice just this overwhelming sense of panic and chaos in the train station, even though it's much quieter than usual, but you still don't notice all of the panic, all of the chaos. You are just a man on a mission, and now you need to find your Uncle Gideon because he's got your train ticket.
That's right.
And that is where we're going to pick up with the rest of the party. But not until our next episode. Please join us in 2 weeks for our next installment of the Barbecue, where we'll do a deep dive into episode 5 of Oops All Bards. And then 2 weeks after that for episode 6 of Oops All Bards, right here on the same feed that you're listening to now. As always, I've been your game master, Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. And on behalf of all of our bards, thanks for joining us.
Oops Oops All Bards is created, GM'd, and directed by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. This episode was produced, edited, and sound designed by Nate Runkle. Oops All Bards stars Ashley Banks as Belle Cernamiel, Ann Coleman as Clarice Sauercloud, Ross Curry as Andric Harrowhold, Bob Killian as Colonian Stumps, and introducing Tej Sinha Das as Cretaceous Thunderthigh. The Oops All Bard theme song is by Bob Killian, with additional lyrics by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. Oops All Bards is executive produced by The Porch Room. We are part of the Porch Room Network on Spreaker Prime. For more information, visit oopsallbards.com. Thanks, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to Oops All Bards on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your podcatcher of choice. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Oops All Bards. We'll see you next time.
Oops, it's all Bards. Oh, what a mess.
Another quality podcast from the Porch Room.